So next we have Jaylani. He's the head of CAIR Minnesota. Jaylani is just a force to be reckoned with, and he's such a smart brother. He's a lawyer, and he's just leading, and he knows what he's doing, right? But always you know, just the care that he has for the community and for all people. And he just is continuing to just let his light shine as a leader, and I'm so thankful to be in this movement with Jaylani and with his whole staff, everybody at CAIR. Just wonderful, excellent work that you do. So thank you, and we have Jaylani.
Let's give it up, y'all.
Thank you, Monique. And I've always seen Monique at all the protests, and it's not easy being a family member who've lost someone and still be out here organizing, still out here managing that. And Monique, you've been one of the more calm and collective, but a powerful force for this movement. So we stand on your shoulders and your leadership. We really appreciate all the work that you have done. And we need to get justice for Marcus Golden. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. First of all, I want to just greet you with a greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May peace and blessings be upon you all today. You know, this space has been calling us. And I know yesterday was a powerful day to hear guilty, guilty, guilty. But we all know that we need to continue this fight. And I'm really glad to see so many of you coming out here. Some of you I can see right now to the crowd. I've seen you multiple times. This means something to you. This is not a hashtag for you. This is not just a moment. This is something you care about, you want to fight, and you want to continue to do that. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you for filling the streets and being out here. And while the cameras leave, and those people, as Nakeem was mentioning earlier, who were just here for the moment, leave, we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. And if we need to do Project Pull Up, Operation Pull Up, we're going to be pulling up some people's houses and they won't even know when we came. No, they'll know when we came, but they're not expecting us. You know, and it's interesting that we say that because, you know, we're just fighting for real transformative change. That's what we're really fighting for. Just to reflect on seeing Dante today, you know, I see him as my little brother. I see him as probably someone I would have hooped with, to learn about him playing basketball. You know, I played basketball just to connect with him in multiple ways. A father, I'm a father, and just to see this handsome young man taken away from us by an officer who said, oops. But we knew the moment that she walked out of the car, he was a black man in America. And black men in America do not get police officers to respond the same way it is for white people. That's right. And there's a lot of people that in the next week, as Nakima mentioned and others, that are satisfied with a guilty verdict inside that courthouse. We wouldn't need to be inside that courthouse if Chauvin was actually found guilty for all the other things that he did. He had 26 complaints against him. He was involved in the killing of nearly 5 other people actually, including George Floyd. This was a serial killer that we have allowed to exist in the city of Minneapolis. A serial killer. And right now we're trying to fight for justice outside the courthouse every single day. We are right now talking to legislators about passing police accountability bills because we know there is a clock running right now for someone else in our community because we haven't done our work. And that's the urgency I want to have all of you in your belly. There is a clock running out for one member of our community right now. We don't know who it is or what city, but they're going to be killed by the police because we failed to bring justice to this city. And so I want you to know, if you are pained by the killing of Dante Wright, if you are pained by the killing of George Floyd, be pained about the unnamed person that we can save if we put fear in the hearts of police departments. The next time they pull over a black person, they should fear pulling that trigger, because there's going to be accountability in this city. There's going to be accountability in this state. That's why we're fighting. We're fighting to save lives. We're fighting to make sure that this government that we pay our tax dollars for doesn't come back and kill our loved ones. So I want you to understand, as we celebrate yesterday was not an average day, because police officers in this country do not get handcuffs on them. They don't get to go home. They get to go home, but Derek Chauvin didn't go to go home. He went to a prison cell last night. It was a brand new day for Derek Chauvin. And by the way, there's a lot of people in prison right now who welcome Derek Chauvin. There's a lot of people who welcomed him, you know? And there's a lot of people celebrating in prison too right now. Because for the first time, they saw a glimpse of what it looked like to have a little bit of justice. Just a little bit. Just a sprinkle, because when you have 15,000 killings and only 7 officers go to prison, that's a problem, man. That's a problem. And we have that problem every single day. So when you wake up every morning, you should feel that in your belly, that there is someone we're trying to save. Can we get to it? Can we get to it? Can we get to it? Because I don't want to come to it after I hear something on Twitter that another officer involved shooting, and we come to the scene and they start lying, that just like they lied about George Floyd. We're tired of that. And so the truth is going to come out not after this verdict. I mean, not before the verdict, but actually after the verdict. Are we in this for the long haul? Are we in this until we get true justice outside these courthouses? Because there's a lot of people who were worried yesterday for their business. There's a lot of people worried yesterday for their home. There's a lot of people worried about their own safety. What about the safety of people who get up every single day who are being murdered by the police? Who wake up every single day looking in the back of the mirror and hoping that it's not a police officer. Or sleeping in their bed not knowing that a police is going to come in and just shoot them like Breonna Taylor. So this is a unique moment for all of us. And so I ask all of you who've been coming to these spaces, who believe in what you're doing, that we are right now demanding justice in a unique way. We want solutions to this problem. No more sympathies. No more, I'm sorry this happened. By the way, didn't Derek Chauvin go to jail? But what about the rest of them? What about the rest of them? How do you tell the 470 families that have never got the justice that we saw yesterday? What do we tell those families? We got Derek Chauvin? That's what we tell them? That ain't enough. And if you think about the justice system, how does it get black men into prison but can't get a single officer in there? Because there's a system built to do what? Incarcerate people, but really, it's a modern day slavery. It's a modern day slavery. You know, we heard what's been happening in the southern border. Americans on the southern border dividing children from their families. They've been doing that since the beginning of America. They've been doing that to Native Americans since the beginning with those boarding schools. Come on now. Come on now. We have been separating children from their families for a long time in this country. And right now, there's a lot of people incarcerated that we need to be knocking doors for. There's a lot of people that these corrupt officers put in prison wrongfully. Every single day we're hearing about a case of someone who's been released from prison for grabbing batteries, maybe for a toy that his child had. Batteries. Shame on that country, that state of California. One of the worst states when it comes to mass incarceration, by the way. But we also here in Minnesota have one of the worst cases of mass incarceration. And not only that, people are dying in COVID. Hardale Cheryl was killed in Beltrami County after going in there for not even more than 8 days. Killed. while he was having a medical, dying from a medical condition, they left him in there to die. This type of brutality has to end. And Minnesota, we may have picked up a little bit of a steam. This is the time right now to add more. This is the time not to go home. We're no longer worried about the verdict. We know what's the future. Yesterday we were worried. Yesterday we didn't know what was coming. But now it is a bright future ahead of us. A bright future filled with guilty, guilty, guilty. And we want that for Dante Wright. We want that for all those families. And that is the only thing that we are going to be fighting for. But we're also going to be fighting for to end police brutality. We're going to hold police accountable. And they're going to be afraid of us. We're not going to be afraid of them. They're going to be afraid of us. We're not going to be afraid of them. That is what we want. And so I enjoy this moment. While we enjoy this moment, I call all of you to be in perpetual commitment, in persisting for justice, because we need to demand justice by any means necessary. I know we all know Dante Wright, we know George Floyd, but after George Floyd was killed, not only 6 months after, and not nearly 6 blocks away from where George Floyd was killed, Dolal Idd was killed. And I want to bring up the father of Dolal Idd, who's with us right now, who's with us right now. And he has been at every single corner talking about the most important thing about his story of his son. And Dolal Idd right now, since his killing, it has been now almost 100 days. The attorney and us, we have not got a single piece of information about this case to the family. They are hiding the truth. And that is what has been happening, by the way. I know many of you are like surprised, like, what? This is how it's been happening. All these names that we have in our community, many of us can't follow because there's just so many. That's why we need to be waking up and realizing what's going on with Dolal Idd. We need to be knocking the door until we get justice for Dolal Idd as well. And so I'm asking all of you to make that commitment, because when we make that commitment, we're going to be able to make the change that we necessary. So I want to bring up Dolal Idd's father, Bayle, who has now been speaking on behalf of his son, has been demanding justice for him.
Okay, everybody, well, thank you. I really appreciate to you guys to be here and fighting for justice. My son, there was a killing in December 30th last year, and there was a kill after, which Jaylani would say 6 blocks from when they were killed to George Floyd. When they were killed, there was a lying a lot of times. So they was saying what he have a gun, he didn't have. They say he was shoot us. They didn't shoot. They didn't show us. I mean, he was shooting them. The only thing is what they was show us is only what they was killing my son. There was a saying he was having the car was with him, his girlfriend, and after a minute they was saying it was undercover police. And they was saying it was informal police again, someone who was working with the police. And they didn't show us a left side of the corner. It was 2 cars with the police. And they was killing him. We just saw only a right angle. The police officer was shooting my son with so many bullets. And also same night, there was who came in my home, those guys who killed my son in my home. At time was 2 a.m. and we was sleeping, me and my family and my kid. Okay, there was arrest, there was a point to the guns, everybody, my kid, my wife, and me, myself. I was sleeping. There was a mega destroyer, like a tornado came in your home, blows up like this one. And we didn't know if they killed my son. We don't have any information. We got a shock, we were scared. Until today, my kid, who is was 5 years now. At that time, he was 4 years. And all my kids they was asking us every day what happened, why they kill our brother, why they was attack us. And we don't have any answer now. The Dakota County, when they would take investigation, after 60 some days, he was saying, I'm retired. Why he take the case before he knew he gonna be retired with that day?
That ain't right.
And that it means it show you he is not the one that would do the right way. Until now, we don't have any answer at all. And what we are fighting to get the justice. And also those police who was killed my loved one son, okay, and other, okay, a loved one is who was lost by the hand of the police. Still they have a uniform, and they was doing a service for the public. If you look like that, where is the justice? What I want to inform on and ask them and tell them, everybody who loves the justice, please never get right, never get tired, and never stop it until we bring it to the justice with those murders.
That's right.
And I hope this revolution will never fail and will never stop until we need all of us justice. Every single day when there was a kill, one person innocent with the youth. Why they attacking our youth?
Exactly.
Because they have a good future. Because they hate, because they color. What I want to ask the President of the United States in Minnesota, 20 cities, everywhere, we need a justice. And we need some federal investigation to come here and bring those murderers, like George Floyd, the man who was killing in front of the public, and the world that saw him how they was killing him. And so this is crying for help. We need help. We heard before so many times for human rights. We heard so many times animal rights. Look this. As a black youth, are we human? Okay, who we are? Who we are? Are we insects? Because the insect, we never heard insects have a right. Thank you, and I hope justice will never be a blend. And I hope those the people who was a murder police will came to the in front of the justice, and they're gonna get a punishment. We need a justice. Thank you, all of you. I really appreciate you.
Say his name, Dolal Idd. Say his name. 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 If Dolal don't get it, if Dolal don't get it, if Dolal don't get it, if Dolal don't get it. All right, all right.
Thank you. Actually, I want to point something out. I thought this was Dalal's father, and I said, wait a minute, he's got a down to your right side. This might not be his father. But see, that just shows how selfless he is. His son died about 4.5, 5 months ago, and he's here, you know, holding up a sign for Dante Wright. You know, that's love, right? He put down his own pain to pick up somebody else's. So we want to give you a hand. We're giving you a hand, sir. So that's tough. But that's love. That's what it takes. Unselfishness to do that. So what an example he has set. It's so new, it's so fresh. We have to make sure that we put some more pressure on the system. I didn't realize that they didn't have any information. It's been 100 days. It's ridiculous. So I mean, you can see the video. You can see the video online, and I don't see a gun. I don't see him shooting out. We just see the police surrounding him and shooting into his vehicle, and then go to the house with a no-knock warrant, terrorize the family. It's got to stop.
And then he said that they said it, remember they said it, I was just going to say that at the time that this happened, like you just said, they said he had a girlfriend in the car. But his dad just said that they found out that that was an undercover police officer. So they've never produced the girl. And then they said that nobody else was injured but Dolal Idd. And then they said she was in the hospital. So they don't even know who was in the car with him. And the police first put out information saying it was a traffic stop. And we raised questions like, what kind of traffic stop? Give us more specifics. And then suddenly they started saying, oh, it was a sting operation, as we asked more and more questions. But that's what they do. They did the same thing with Dante Wright, claiming that it was some tabs. But Dante Wright told his mom they pulled him over because he had an air freshener hanging in his mirror. And then when we questioned the chief, first he's like, oh, I don't know what what? You don't know why they pulled this boy over and then ultimately killed him. It's ridiculous. So we have to keep asking questions and demanding answers. We stand in solidarity with you. You have been through so much, and we are sorry that you have experienced that. You did not deserve that. We love you. We appreciate you. Let's give him a hand, John. That takes courage to keep coming out here while you are grieving. Man, oh my goodness, it's ridiculous.
We also asked the governor to appoint this case to the Attorney General, and we're actually waiting back to hear, because he did hear that. We had that conversation one-on-one, or at least Zoom one-on-one. But that we don't listen to racists. We just dial it down so far as they can. They'd be minuscule. Anyways, yeah. So just to add to Dolal Idd's, this is what they do. They delay and delay and delay. And by the way, I personally believe Jack Backstrom, who is the Dakota County prosecutor, chose this case because he actually refused to bring charges against Isaac Aiden. And Isaac Aiden and Dolal Idd share because they're both black men, but they're also Somali men.
The cop who killed Isaac Aiden.
Yes.
Not against, he said he refused to bring charges against Isaac Aiden.
Oh, yeah, he refused to bring charges against the killer cops who killed Isaac Aiden. And by the way, there are 90 of them, 90 police officers, while Isaac Aiden was sitting down and literally sitting down, putting his hands on his head, and they fired shots at him. So that case has not been resolved, and that Jack Backstrom, once he heard that another Somali young black man was killed, he chose this case. And then he retired, as his father said. He retired. And these county prosecutors are in bed with the police. They will never bring charges against the police departments. That's why we're asking for the governor to step in and to take the matter out of the Dakota County prosecutor. And also, by the way, there is actually a loophole created by the state of Minnesota. There's a statute that allows the governor to do that. And that statute was created because county prosecutors did not want it to prosecute pedophilia priests. So they allowed the county prosecutors not to be subjugated to bring those charges, and they allowed for a special prosecutor to do that. So that is the loophole that we have, that actually right now we're using to make sure that the governor assigns a special prosecutor. And so it's actually on the governor's front lawn right now. We stood in front of the governor, and we're demanding for the governor to do that. And Walz needs to listen to us, because if he doesn't listen to us, 2022.
Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black youth matter. Black youth matter. Black youth matter. Black youth